From the shadow of his father's legacy to the spotlight of global sporting power, Eddie Hearn didn't just inherit Matchroom Sport. He redefined it. Known for his sharp suits, sharper wit, and an eye for spectacle, John Hearn, or simply Eddie Hearn, is not just a boxing promoter. He is the ringmaster of modern combat sports. As of now, Hearn is valued at approximately $50 million USD, with his wealth built through revolutionary deals with global platforms like DAZN, game-changing mega fights across 5 continents, and a reputation for delivering fight nights that blend sport with cinematic showbiz. Whether promoting Anthony Joshua in a sold-out Wembley Stadium or staging historic fights under the Saudi Arabian lights, Eddie Hearn has transformed the gritty, blood-stained image of boxing into a billion-dollar spectacle. Yet behind the booming voice and bravado lies a deeply strategic businessman, a family man, and a disruptor who outshone his own legendary father, Eddie Hearn. This is the story of the man who turned every fight into a headline and every fighter into a brand. Early life. Born on June 8, 1979, in Essex, England, Eddie Hearn was thrust into the world of sports before he could tie his shoelaces. His father, Eddie Hearn, was already a titan in British sports, the founder of Matchroom Sport, which managed everything from darts and snooker to fishing and boxing. Eddie was hands-on and larger than life, and young Eddie often found himself trying to prove he could live up to the family name. Eddie's upbringing was privileged yet demanding. He attended Brentwood School, a private institution where he excelled in sports, particularly cricket and football, but struggled academically. After failing to qualify for sixth form, his father made him a deal, £1,000 for every passing grade at Havering College, where Eddie eventually earned 2 CS and an A in PE, Communications, and Business Studies. It wasn't Oxford, but it was the start of a new kind of education, in hustle, charm, and grit. Though often seen alone in the public eye, Eddie is believed to be an only child. Much of his early motivation stemmed from a fierce desire not to be seen merely as Eddie Hearn's son, but as a powerhouse in his own right. Personal life. Eddie Hearn's life off the stage is surprisingly grounded. He is married to Chloe Hearn, an entrepreneur in her own right, and together they have 2 daughters. The family lives in the countryside near Billericay, Essex, a serene backdrop to the storm of Eddie's international business ventures. Although Hearn keeps his family life private, he often speaks about the importance of being a present father, balancing the chaos of global fight promotions with quiet weekends at home. As a businessman, Eddie is always in the public eye, but as a father and husband, he values privacy. He has never publicly declared a religious affiliation, but his outlook on life reflects discipline, balance, and legacy, principles often echoed in the way he builds fighters' careers and Matchroom's brand. Outside the ring, Eddie has written a best-selling book titled Relentless, 12 Rounds to Success, 2020, hosts the popular BBC podcast No Passion, No Point, and is known for his dedication to youth outreach programs, particularly through Matchroom in the community, an initiative focused on keeping kids away from violence through sport. Professional career. The early days, poker, golf, and Audley Harrison. Eddie didn't walk straight into boxing. After a stint managing golfers and poker players, his entry into boxing was, ironically, during a poker game in Vegas, where he met former Olympic gold medalist Audley Harrison. Eddie helped set up Harrison's infamous 2010 match with David Haye, a bout that was heavily hyped but universally panned. The loss could have ended his career before it began, but Eddie didn't flinch. Instead, he doubled down. He signed a string of British talents like Carl Froch, Kell Brook, and eventually Anthony Joshua, turning Matchroom Boxing into the most dominant promotional outfit in the UK. The Joshua era and the rise of a global empire. Hearn's career skyrocketed in 2013 when he signed Olympic gold medalist Anthony Joshua, whose knockout power and charisma became a marketer's dream. Under Hearn's guidance, Joshua headlined some of the biggest fights of the decade, from 90,000 fans at Wembley Stadium to global pay-per-view hits. The Froch vs. Groves 2 fight in 2014, also promoted by Hearn, drew over 80,000 fans, a British record at the time. Eddie had found his rhythm, and boxing would never be the same. By 2018, Eddie had orchestrated a $1 billion partnership with DAZN, taking boxing off traditional TV and into the streaming era. His vision? Global expansion, with shows in New York, Saudi Arabia, Japan, and Australia. Matchroom became more than a UK powerhouse. It became a global fight empire. Canelo, Katie Taylor, and reinventing the game. Hearn didn't stop with heavyweights. He courted and signed the biggest names in boxing, including Canelo Alvarez, the sport's top pound-for-pound fighter. He also made history by co-promoting the first female main event at Madison Square Garden in 2022. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, hailed as the greatest women's fight of all time. Through sheer drive, charisma, and innovation, Eddie transformed matchmaking into storytelling and fighters into global icons. 2024 to 2025, Saudi expansion and the Netflix era. In 2024, Eddie Hearn shook the boxing world again by partnering with Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority. The 5 vs 5, Queensberry vs Matchroom, event brought team-style fighting into the mainstream. And in 2025, he stunned audiences by staging a boxing event in Times Square, New York, complete with holograms, light shows, and an arena built in 12 hours. In June 2025, Netflix released a behind-the-scenes docuseries titled Matchroom, The Greatest Showman, chronicling Eddie's reign, the power struggles, the rivalries, and the pressure of living up to the Hearn name. The series was an instant hit, revealing both the glamour and grit of Eddie's empire. House tour and car collection. Eddie Hearn is not shy about enjoying success. His Essex Estate, which doubles as Matchroom's headquarters, is a modern-day sports palace, complete with private gyms, conference halls, helipads, and media studios. During the pandemic, Eddie even hosted live fights on the lawn, dubbed Fight Camp, with pyrotechnics and camera drones lighting up the countryside. Inside, the estate features oak-paneled libraries, a boxing memorabilia wall, designer kitchens, and private bars, blending old money charm with modern swagger. When it comes to wheels, Eddie's garage is the stuff of dreams. Ferrari F430, Lamborghini Aventador, Rolls-Royce Ghost, and a Range Rover Sport. He's also been spotted in a Bentley Continental GT, which he jokingly refers to as his office on wheels. Eddie Hearn did not attend university. While many future CEOs rack up degrees, Eddie's education came from the boardrooms of Matchroom, the harsh critiques of his father, and the brutal realities of business. He often says, "I learned more in 1 week selling tickets than I would have in 4 years at university." His college days at Havering College were less about textbooks and more about forming a relentless, persuasive, charming style that would eventually make him a global brand. As of today, Eddie Hearn is alive and thriving. At age 46, he remains one of the most active and influential figures in global sports promotion. In fact, he has hinted at an IPO for Matchroom and even expanding into MMA, fashion, and global wellness franchises. Eddie Hearn isn't just a promoter. He's a storyteller, a strategist, and a showman. He's the guy who took boxing from smoky arenas to billion-dollar streaming platforms. He brought women into the spotlight, pulled boxing into Times Square, and outmaneuvered old-school promoters in every corner of the globe. He didn't invent boxing, but he repackaged it for a generation raised on Netflix, TikTok, and billion-view spectacles. And he's still just getting started.